everybody. I'm Alison Cox, and I have the pleasure of talking to all of you on the Talk to the Entities. Excuse me, my voice. I was at a function yesterday at a rally in the United States for hopefully a future president, and I was yelling a lot. So excuse my voice. I digress. So I'm Alison. I get to talk. I have the pleasure of speaking with you on the Talk to the Entities live resources here, social media, on Facebook and Instagram. And I am so excited to talk to you about entities today and, my experience, and hopefully it will contribute to you and your experience, your future experiences. Maybe you'll get to learn something or acknowledge something that you didn't know that you had the capacity to do or be. And it's just so fun to talk about these things because, before Talk to the Entities, I was just a kid growing up, like a kid does, and having adventures. And I also had like this kind of a dark side, not like a dark side like evil, but a dark side that, I had a lot of hidden anxiety that I didn't really show anyone or tell my parents, but I literally was terrified most of my life about ghosts. And I didn't know if ghosts were real or not real. I loved watching scary movies. I'm sure that helped a lot. But I kind of went around not knowing what I was aware of, just thinking that entities and spirits weren't actually real, while believing they were totally real, and I was scared of them all the time. I couldn't sleep without a light on or the door open. I always thought something was going to come out from underneath my bed. I would, think that someone was going to jump through the window, and, someone was going to start the side of my house on fire. Like, I remember all of these crazy things that flash forward to taking my first Talk to the Entities class. I got to know that I was actually aware of energies and spirits and ghosts. And when I acknowledged that, everything changed. My anxiety went away. I got to, actually take control and have the power to just be able to acknowledge what I was aware of. So that might not sound like a whole lot of power, but holy moly, does it change your life when you think you're crazy, you can't tell anybody, and then you find out that, oh, you were just aware of things that you couldn't see. And I had all of these, when you don't know what something is and you don't know that it's not dangerous, when you think everything is dangerous, it's not that much fun. So I got to acknowledge the entire, basically the anxiety, the stress, the what am I aware of? Or that stuff was actually just my awareness of spirits, ghosts, energies, and all kinds of stuff. So that was before. This is now. Talk to the Entities has been such a gift because now I get to include communicating with energies and entities every single day. Like just this morning, I had gone to that big event yesterday, and there was lots of people and lots of points of view and presidential stuff. And oh my gosh. And guess what people bring with them? They bring with them, all the entities that they're connected to that they don't even know that they are. Entities, even when they die, they don't necessarily get rid of their points of view or their identity. They don't get rid of their past experiences with you from other lifetimes. So they can actually cling on to you or be around you. And if you have a capacity with entities and you aren't acknowledging it, they can actually perceive that capacity, perceive that energy, and they're going to want to try to talk to you whether you know it or not. So it's very helpful to acknowledge your capacities, which Talk to the Entities, the books, the classes, everything helps you to achieve. So this morning I woke up I had just done a big class. I did the Symphony of Possibility class with Dr. Dane here all night. from the United States in Paris all night, so I didn't really sleep. I went to this big function, and then I woke up this morning like, oh my God, that anxiety, like, what is wrong? Am I okay? Did I make a mistake? Is my life falling apart? Do you ever wake up and just, start to think about the worst possible things, but you're not sure what it is, but something is wrong? Well, I do. I wake up like that sometimes. And I used to not be able to do anything about it, just walk through life like, oh, I'm fine, I swear. But now I got to wake up, notice that, and acknowledge, ask a question. Okay, is any of this crazy monkey mind chatter even mine? No. What I've learned through Access Consciousness and Talk to the Entities is that anything that feels like fear, feels like stress, anxiety, feels heavy or shrinks my world is never mine. Thank God. Thank everything. I was like, oh, okay, this feels like crap. This isn't mine. What am I aware of? Is this entities or something else? And I got, oh, this is totally entities. Hi, everyone. I live in a big city. Oops, here's the city. I live in Denver, full of entities, and it's one of my favorite places to be. I haven't been able to move from here in so long. Some people think I'm weird because there's so much activity here. There's so many people, there's drugs and alcohol, and that can really stir up the not so fun entities. But I know that I have a weird capacity with this stuff, and I enjoy being in the midst of it and bringing space to all of it just by being me. That has taken practice, of course. But this morning, I had one of those moments. So I acknowledged it was entities, and I was able to say hello and then ask, hey, do you guys want to clear, communicate, receive, or cooperate? And those guys, it was just, the majority was clear. It was just a lot of crazy mind anxiety. So I just said, hey, everybody, who are all of you? Did you know that you don't have a body anymore? And, one of the easiest ways to click or clear an entity, but really you're facilitating choice for entities when you clear entities with the Talk to the Entities way. I got to ask like, hey, did you know you don't have a body anymore? Did you know, just being a space of, hey, what if this wasn't as big of a deal as you're making it? And then I got to ask them like, who are you? Who were you before that? Who were you before that? Who were you before that? And who will you be in the future? And by doing that, I got to move the entities. You can clear and communicate. You can communicate and facilitate lots of entities at the same time. And you don't have to sit there and figure out who everybody is, because this felt like a freaking army cloud smoke poof of attack, if you will. But it was just, I was aware of a lot of entities. So you basically just get to expand out and connect with all of them, and you can speak to many entities all at the same time. Also, thank God, because I don't want to sit there and have to talk to, millions individually. I love, I didn't know you could do this before until I took the Talk to the Entities classes, but I love that I know that I have the capacity to facilitate many all at once. So I just did a few clearings and pock and potted, and I felt so much better. And then, I still felt a little, I couldn't get myself up and awake. I'm like, what else is required here? And I don't know why. This is so funny. I was like, what could I add here? What could I talk to? What could I use that is going to make getting up to start my day a lot easier? Cleared the entities. That felt good. And then I got to play with another entity, which this just popped in my head. And, everything can contribute to you if you're willing to allow it to. So all of a sudden a song popped in my head. And I was like, oh, this is a funny song. Maybe I'll just get into it. So all books, all books, businesses, songs, artworks, creations are entities too. So this other entity came to help out in the form of a song. And it was, who knows where this came from, but it was Snoop Dogg's children's song. Thank you, Snoop Dogg. I know he's still embodied, but he's a pretty cool entity. I dig him. And all of a sudden this song pops in my head. Today's gonna be an amazing day. Today's gonna be an amazing day. My feelings matter. My feelings matter. I'm like, that's the weirdest song, but I'm just going to go ahead and go for it. So I just started singing this song and jamming with the energy of that song. And voila, I felt so much better. So, not judging anything that comes into your awareness and playing with it, I found really helps. And so when you are dealing with the world of entities and spirits and ghosts, maybe you were like how I was when I was little, where you saw movies that were, everything was scary. Entities are evil. There's possession. There's demons. There's all this stuff. And yes, of course, there is that stuff, but it does not have to look like the movies at all. So now, what I've learned is being an allowance of everything can help you shift and change and create a greater space for at least you, whether anybody else is willing to have it or not. But being able to just be an allowance of all entities and energies, the good, the bad, and the ugly, helps you to be able to shift and change and even have fun with like Snoop Dogg songs and waking up and being a dork. It helps me. So what else are we going to talk about on here today? That's been like a snippet of my experience with Talk to the Entities so far. And another really cool, story that there's so many stories. I think I've been a Talk to the Entities facilitator for at least 8 or 9 years or more. I don't know, something for a long time. And so there's all these weird stories that I have, but some of the coolest stories that I love, I'm an animal lover. And animals and entities, you kind of use the same muscle when you're communicating with either of those guys. And there have just been the strangest things that have occurred when I've cleared entities from my dog that I had at one point, communicating with my dog after she died, communicating with my horses now, and communicating with like the dead riders and the entities that they pick up. Like animals have a huge capacity with entities too. So you being able to facilitate that stuff really helps them in their peace of mind, their bodies. A lot of their entity symptoms can show up kind of like ours, where they'll get, they can get allergy symptoms. They can get skin stuff. They'll be sick. They'll be, if your animal, your horse, your dog, your cat is either sick or, not acting right, or just being a bad girl or boy, you might want to look at first, is this entities or something else? Because babies and animals, they have a huge awareness of entities, and they have not shut anything off. They haven't put up their barriers. They're basically allowing all awareness in. And sometimes it can get a little gooped up, or, they've just, when you have been facilitating everything, you've been around people and you just you can't help but cry, or you just feel sick or whatever, or you just want to give up, and then you get your bars run. Clearing entities with your pets and your animals is basically like running their bars. Animals don't have bars, but there you go. So one of the coolest stories, that I could think of today was with this little bird. His name was Cedric. I named him Cedric. I knew him for like 4 days. And, at this one place I was living at, there was always these like injured birds. I don't know if every year, like this one particular mom just booted out all of her kids, because, every spring I would walk out of my apartment there and I would find like an injured little baby bird. And this particular year there was 4 birds. 4 baby birds. I think a couple were dead. I was like, oh my God. Or everyone was kind of half dead. I'm like, I need to go to work. And one other thing that Talk to the Entities has really helped me with is ease with death. Like, not that it's a bad thing, but it's just like, okay, these guys are possibly dying. Death is a choice. Ease with death has become so much easier. And do any of you want to live? Okay, I kind of got a yes. So I like scooped up everybody. There's about 4 of them. I put them in a little box and put them on my balcony. And I was like, hey, the deal is, if any of you are still alive when I get home, I'll help you out. So I went to work. I came back. Most of them had died. Bye. Have fun. Have fun finding a new body. But there was one that was still alive. I'm like, do you want to? Can I contribute to you? And so I named him Cedric. He had a little broken leg and a little broken wing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if you're going to have the best life, but I gave it a shot. And so, I did water and stuff, and I was running body processes, access consciousness body processes on Cedric, and he started getting better, and he got so much better. I'd put him in a little box and sleep next to him, and he was just so fun. He's on my Instagram somewhere, but he was so sweet, and he was singing, and I started to be able to recognize, his voice, and he started to get so much better. He couldn't fly, like his wing was still messed up, but he was starting to be able to bounce around the house, and soon he was starting to be able to bounce off of the balcony, and I'd find him like across the street or, in these different places. And I'm like, So the 4th day he was with me, I was like, Cedric, okay, the deal is, you need to get better and fly away, or I'm going to have to get you a cage. So I'm like, that's it. Today I'm getting you a cage. So I closed all the doors of my room. I kept Cedric in there. I went to work. I was like, do I run to go get a cage first, or do I come check on Cedric? So I came to check on Cedric first, and when I got home, all the doors were open, the doors to the balcony, the door to my room, the wind was blowing through my house. I ran over to my roommates and I was like, did you guys open all the doors? They're like, no, we didn't touch your room. We didn't touch the doors. I was like, oh my God. And I was like, and Cedric wasn't there anywhere. And I was like, where are you? And I couldn't hear him anywhere. I didn't have my super hearing on. I had my super hearing on, but I couldn't find his voice anywhere. And then I looked out into the street, and there was a little smashed flat thing of feathers on the road. I'm like, oh my God, Cedric's dead. Like, good for you. You chose death, but it still got me. I didn't know I was gonna, have such a emotional reaction to a little baby bird I knew for 4 days. But I was like, oh, all right, Cedric, you chose. How cool that you were able to open up all the doors and windows. You're only this big, and you can't move. You can't fly. You don't have hands. But how cool that you chose that. I'm happy for you. You probably weren't going to live a great little birdie life with your body how it was anyway. And so I just, tapped into his little being, the entity of Cedric. And I just felt all this gratitude. It was great. I was still sad. I'm just like, oh, what's right about this I'm not getting? And I went on with my life. And I'd say like 4 or 5 days later, I don't know how long it was, but I was like, hey, let me know how you're doing. Whenever you want to say hi, say hi. So one day about a week later, I opened up the balcony door and I went to step outside and I kicked this little soft thing. And I looked down and it was this little baby bird staring up at me. And I was like, hi. And it's just looking at me and I'm like, can I help you? And I'm like, oh, Cedric, is that you? And I got a yes, it's me. Like, basically, look at my new body. I'm like, your body's awesome. Like, you look healthy. You didn't fall out of a nest and break everything. I was like, do you want me to pick you up? And I went down to pick him up and he was like, nope. And he just like bounced over, hopped up on the rail and flew away. Like, perfect body, able to fly. I was like, holy cow, look at your body. And what I got, he said that basically I just wanted to come say hi. Thank you if you ever need anything. And here you were asking, so I wanted to show you my new body. And so, every time I see little finches now, I think of Cedric and I know that the whole energy, space, and consciousness of finches has my back and I have theirs. And it was just one of my favorite, coolest, weirdest stories to date so far. So if you are looking for more magic, miracles, possibility, profitability of a greater future for you, and just like fun with anything, with animals, with your life, with your body, with entities that you don't even know exist yet, I would consider choosing, play with the tools of Talk to the Entities, take the classes, read the books, talk to people, talk to the facilitators, and we can't wait to contribute to you and what's that word? Facilitate, create ease with you and have you enjoy your life with entities. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.